Welcome back to BD Radio. Hopefully, you enjoyed our last episode on habits and self sabotage last week. Today, we're slightly changing track. I guess it'll be a little bit less advice in a way and a little bit more our thoughts on some of the things that are happening in our industry in particular. We basically wanted to talk about the fitness industry. So, over our journey, we've had a bit of a love-hate relationship, I guess, with what's been put out there, what's been made popular in regards to our space. I think a lot of the times we feel quite defensive of, I guess, what we do because of people's perceptions with it. So we're just going to delve into that a little bit deeper today as I welcome my co-host, Danielle.
Thanks, Ben.
So let's go from the start. So the fitness landscape. What have you and what haven't you liked about it in the past? So we're talking now pre-COVID, I guess.
Yeah. So what I do like is obviously movement. We are a fan of, but moving for health is what we are all about here, and that's what I've always loved about it. When I first entered the industry, I didn't realize how unhealthy some types of movements, I guess, can be. So kind of like why we train.
Not just the movements, like the trainers. Like you would think that professionals would be, like shining examples of what to do, what not to do. Whereas I think once you're on the inside, you sort of see the underbelly. And a lot of people know this already, but there's some of what's out there in our space is incredibly fake.
Very,
the advertising,
very vain.
Extremely vain, misleading.
Yep, unhealthy.
Oh, extremely unhealthy. Like if you want to see some eating disorders, just head along to a health and fitness expo. But it's like the worse you are, the more you're rewarded because often the better you look. So, like if you're really lean, then it's like, oh, he must know what he's talking about, or she's an expert. That's great. And it's like, well, like if you just peel back the curtains and have a look, like there's not a whole lot of healthy things happening there. So that is something that has frustrated us in the past.
But, yeah, definitely. Especially for me, the association of lean and being healthy is just incredible.
Yeah.
Like it baffles me. And the idea of successful people in our industry, what sometimes a lot of them have in common, like they're selling their body. They're not, rather than their product, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, like if we use Instagram as an example, because it's probably been the like main exponent of, and it's not Instagram's fault, but it's the way that you see the content on there. It's very visual. Like some of the best coaches we know have 10% the following, and they're just like really great information, excellent stuff. Like it's not, you're not rewarded based on what you know on that platform in particular. You're probably, or not probably, you're more rewarded based on how you look. So that's been something that we really haven't enjoyed about our own industry over the journey, is the heightened importance on how you look compared to what you know and how you can help people, I think.
Yeah, definitely. So like when we opened our business and we sat down and we were talking about, our vision, like what we want, a few of the things that came up included health. Like it was all around health, family, like everyday people.
Everyday people feeling comfortable in the gym was a big one. Like we hear so often like, oh, it's intimidating, it's this and it's that, when I think that's because of like, oh, I'm not as lean or as strong as the people I see actually doing this stuff, and it's sort of like, oh, well, I don't fit that mold, so I can't go and train there because I'm not the right type of population. When, I mean, that's just like when we opened our space, we wanted to create a place where everyone would feel comfortable just exercising, training, having a good time.
Absolutely. The amount of people that like come in and say, oh, like I'm unfit, or oh, I've never done anything, of like, and anyone can exercise.
Yeah, and then a month after being like, oh, I've never trained at a place like this before.
Anyone can exercise, and everyone should exercise. It's not exercise is for certain people. It's not a beauty contest. Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Whereas I think it has been portrayed that way in the past. I mean, but if you look at the origins of fitness as a mainstream sort of culture, like it all came from Arnold and, like all the bodybuilders. And I mean, that is what that competition is how good do you look in your undies?
Yeah.
So like if that's the origin of, lifting weights and nutrition in the mainstream, then I mean, it's going to probably take a while before it goes 180 and comes all the way back to probably where it needs to be. But, I think possibly, I don't know if it's just because I don't follow many people like I used to anymore, but I think the market's slowly becoming more educated on that sort of thing, or if it's, I don't know if it's just as I get a bit older and a bit more mature that the people around me do, so they don't get sucked in by certain things. But I think that now that I actually say it out loud, I definitely think it's more of a maturity thing. But the stuff I used to see selling isn't as much anymore, which is a good thing. I think as the market gets more educated, and as people start to know what works and what doesn't, it's sort of, the cream will rise to the top in a way. And some of the stuff that we used to see advertised, I guess, aren't that popular anymore. Like, like skinny tees and
yeah, that's true.
Waist trainers.
Yep.
I saw someone wearing a waist trainer the other day, and I was just like, oh my God, like, it's just the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life. But you can't blame people for not knowing that it's not right if they don't know, but I think it's more, it speaks to more the ethics of the person actually selling it rather than the person actually purchasing it.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But also, if the person selling it doesn't know that it doesn't work, then they shouldn't be in a position of power anyways, probably because they look good.
Yeah.
But, obviously Instagram isn't going to start handing out a certificate of, yep, they know what they're talking about. So, it's just, it is what it is, unfortunately, but it's slowly starting to change, which is where we wanted to get to, I guess, now, is how the impact of a global pandemic, like what that's done to the industry.
I know. We were like having a conversation the other day and we're so excited. Well, me especially. I was just saying, like, so much of the stuff I'm seeing now on Instagram and Facebook and all that kind of stuff is about how we feel rather than how we look. And I think that has been definitely the first time in my lifetime that has happened. Like, I can't remember another time growing up where how you felt was more important than how you looked.
I think that especially, like, you can especially see that in marketing. I'm sure everyone can relate to seeing those, 28-day transformation challenges and, that ultimate you, 9 kilos in 6 weeks and all sorts of stuff like that, where it's the marketing's purely aesthetic. That's how they get people through the door. There's the pictures of the fitness models as the photos, and they've probably got eating disorders and they're on steroids, but that's just the way our industry markets, and that's just completely changed. I haven't seen a single ad like that, obviously because gyms are closed, but people are still selling their online programs, and
Yeah.
it's less about that. It's more about, basically brightening up your day with just 20 minutes of intensity.
Yeah.
Really, that's the overwhelming message out of our industry. It sort of has, because everyone's now on a level playing field in a way where it's, okay, we've got a dumbbell, how can we train people? It has allowed a lot of the best coaches that we know to sort of really get inventive and show why they're really good, and it's, if you don't know that much, it's probably highlighted that a little bit, is
Yeah, I would agree. The like online programs that a lot of people have been doing in the past, especially, I think they're targeted mainly at women, mainly at mums,
young girls as well.
Yeah, so just those
No names.
Yeah, those hip programs you do at home.
Basically the ones where you're jumping around like you're at a dance party for half an hour.
Yeah, I think it's really highlighted to a lot of people now that, wow, like, what are we paying for?
And maybe not an optimal way to train.
Yeah, maybe that's not the best option now that there are a lot of people moving their product online.
Yeah, with minimal equipment, whereas a lot of the best coaches used to train out of a gym and now they can't. So it's like, okay, how can I still, deliver for my clientele and my audience? And yeah, everyone's on the same playing field now, and it's really apparent who knows their stuff and who's a little bit out of their depth.
Yeah, and not only selling the initial product, but how do you maintain it? So, like, if we are staying online for an extended period of time, we don't just want to sell our program to somebody. How are we going to guarantee or help them move to the best ability they can?
Yeah, the way that, it's not just a PDF, it's it's an actual coaching experience.
Yeah, so like we use an interactive app, but like, what about everybody else? What are they using? Yeah, a lot of the stuff, like a lot of the free stuff you see on Instagram, like, is someone just jumping around in their lounge room hurting themselves.
And it'll get your heart rate up, and it'll give you like a sweat, but it's never been the best measure of a good session, I guess, is how tired you are afterwards. It's the results that you're actually, a month on.
Yeah.
So.
And not only that, month after month after month.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Like what we do with our guys, that continual progress.
Yeah, and just not taking it too much of a day at a time, but extrapolating it out over a period of time. And like, are you able to achieve your goals and stay healthy in the process and not be hurt, really? Because I think a lot of home programs in the past have been probably guilty of that. Is just maybe not a whole lot of thoughts gone behind them, and it's it's pretty dangerous, I think, sometimes. Like it's similar to if someone hasn't been running for 10 years and they get off the couch and go for a run every day for a week, like, they're going to be really sore in specific areas just as they're not conditioned for it. Like plyometric stuff, and we've used that word a couple of times, we're talking about explosive exercise, so like a jump squat, a jumping lunge, pretty much anything where your feet or your body come off the floor, really. So like a box jump, plyometric push-up, all that stuff. There's a lot more pressure on your joints, like, than it's not just twice the force to do a jump squat than a normal squat. Like, it's significantly more than that. So that's more what we speak to when we talk about home programs and how they've been a bit iffy in the past.
Yeah, so for example, like our program that we are doing for our gym clientele, and then we also have some other online programs, there is no way we'd be doing plyo work every day.
No way.
It's insane.
Yeah. And it's not the audience's fault that they don't know that. It's just that now that everyone's moved into that space, there's that education that comes with it as well. And it's like, oh, maybe I'm not really taking care of myself in the best way possible here. But it's the same as anything. So when we talk about training, like, too much of the one thing is not good. But I guess everyone wants to belong to sort of like that, that squad and that group of like, oh, I'm a runner, or yep, I do strength training, when we know what's worked best with our clients and the people that we've trained in the past is just a little bit of everything's just perfect.
Balance.
Exactly right. Same as everything.
Yeah. Just understanding that stimulus, I think. And a big part of what we do is educate our guys so they understand. So, like, I'd like to think that when our guys are scrolling through Instagram, like, they have an idea of, oh, that looks
Sometimes
good.
they send us stuff and they're like, have a look at this. And we're like,
or look at those bad squats, look at those bad push-ups. It's like, oh, wow.
At Britney Spears. Had some of the best workouts I've seen.
That's amazing, like, to be able to educate them and then moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, they now know a really optimal way to train for the rest of their lives.
Yeah. That's sustainable.
Long beyond us, which is good.
That's beautiful.
So, as a result of, COVID-19 and I guess the closing and changing of the way health is viewed is something that is, I mean, not just every health professional now on the same page in regards to what we can do, what we can't, and what we have access to help our clients. It's more how prospective clients now view health and fitness as well as something that goes beyond just how you look, as to, oh, actually, when shit hits the fan, it's like, oh, well, no matter how much I work, I can't buy my health. I can't take it for granted. So I think a lot of people are realizing that now, possibly more from a mental health perspective as much as physical health at the moment, is how integral physical activity is as a part of their daily routine. We've been saying often we've never seen so many people out walking the dog, riding bikes.
Like, we're in the gym today, the amount of people, so we're in like an industrial area, so it's not really a place where people like walk around.
Oh, the amount of people, sightly.
The amount of people I've seen ride past, run past, on scooters.
On a public holiday today as well. It's not like they're commuting.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So the shift has been quite positive, and I think, very educational.
Oh, absolutely. I think it helps the masses. Like, I think a lot of our guys understood that anyway, just because of the messages that we kind of press upon them and encourage them to, really take into their lives. But I think it will really shift the way health and fitness is marketed to the masses moving forward. Though I'm 100% certain once gyms open that there'll be a get shredded after the COVID quarantine, 5 kgs,
it's bound to happen. It will be interesting.
Drop the quarantine 15 or whatever it is.
Yeah, when we come out of this, it will be so interesting, especially seeing what the big gyms do.
Oh, they'll just be trying to get people through the doors again.
Yeah, back to the same big numbers, you think?
Oh, 100%. Because, it's like the chain places, it's just, they pretty much bank on the fact that no one will be there all at the one time.
I understand that, cash. But I think now at the moment, like a structure like ours, obviously complements everything that's happened. So like having small classes being capped, I don't think the big gyms will be able to go back to what they used to do. Like, I think there'll be restrictions.
Maybe not until a vaccine is out.
Yeah, for a long time. Like, they might be looking at capping.
Well, then they'd have to change their whole model because they'd be screwed.
Yeah, they would.
There's no way they'd be able to go back to what they're doing. They're going to have these long leases on these massive spaces and not be able to use them.
Yeah.
There's no way they'd be able to make enough to then, Yeah,
it will be so interesting. So whether they continue to sell their products kind of in a at-home space, because they can only limit their in-gym to so many members. But
I don't know. I reckon, I don't think gyms will be last to open just because of the pressure of lots of businesses on the government will be pressing them to open, because lots of these chain places are owned by huge corporations, that it'll be, and they've obviously millions and millions of dollars. So I don't know, it'll be interesting to see what happens, but hopefully moving forward, the gym space, I guess, will be a lot more holistically viewed rather than just, this is a place I go if I need to lose weight. Because that's something that has annoyed us in the past. Like, we understand that's the market, but and we market that way ourselves, just to, like, we sort of have the idea of if we can get people through the door, then we can shape them in a way that we like to view health and fitness, and educate them on the value of that way for themselves.
Yeah, that's something I think we struggled with initially.
Oh, yeah.
Was we felt like we were compromising our values in our marketing, and obviously we've learnt a lot along the way.
Well, initially we weren't compromising our values, but our marketing was not working because that's what we were up against, and that's what the market wanted. We'd be like, come into BD, have a good time, and you'll feel better about yourself and enjoy exercise for the first time ever. I mean, whilst that looks great to our clients now, it wouldn't have when they initially joined. It was saw a picture of myself at a party and I was just like, whew, gained a few. And that is undoubtedly the number one thing that drives people through the door.
Yeah.
Is the way they feel about themselves. But, after a month or two, they all say that I'm not too worried about it anymore.
Yeah, that is so true. The shift.
Oh, massive.
Is incredible.
But I think the whole reason of this podcast is that we now sort of see that shift on a really big scale.
Yeah.
Without having to tell people.
Do you know the one thing I love hearing every day? So we don't normally have the television on in our house, but we've been listening to the news probably for the last month or so, staying up to date.
Yeah, for sure.
And when the Victorian government message comes on and the reasons you're allowed to travel and all that kind of stuff, every single day we're hearing that it is essential to exercise.
Outdoors.
It's essential to exercise.
Yeah.
How much of the population have ever thought that it was essential to exercise?
Well, in our conversations with prospective clients, when we get a bit of an idea of their lifestyle, zero. It's not essential.
The people that, if you look at the stats, the people that go to the gym, we're a minority.
Oh, massive minority.
Yeah. So and
especially
now,
the people who strength train.
Yeah.
Rather than who just run on a treadmill, which, for the life of me, if you have a gym membership and you go just to the gym to run on the treadmill, give yourself an uppercut and don't do that anymore. You should, please. I mean, it'd want to be a good reason, but you should not pay to do that anymore.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Definitely rethink that. I've never understood it.
Yeah, I don't actually like running on treadmills.
No, it's way easier.
It's a bit disorientating. I
honestly think people run on treadmills because it's easier.
Do you think?
100%.
Or they like people looking at them in the gym.
No, they don't like people looking at them outside.
Okay.
But they think it's okay to do it in the gym. But that's another weird thing that, people had is like, I don't want people to look at me like they're, bloody Brad Pitt or Angelina Jolie out there on the weights. Like, most people in the gym, and I've been strong on this my whole time I've ever trained in the gym, they're too obsessed with themselves to worry about anyone else, which is probably comes all the way back to what we were talking to at the start about, I guess how people are obsessed with aesthetics, but it's just, it's tough. But I think that probably shifted maybe early 2010s, 11, 12. And I think you can pretty much put it down to how massive CrossFit got and there were these weird spaces. It was like a warehouse, no mirrors, and it was just come in, smash it out. Like it was so different to what was currently out in the industry that it completely changed the way that lots of people viewed exercise.
Yeah, but we were in that type of industry. Like, I think even if you walk down the street today...
A version of.
Yeah, but I'm saying even if, like, a lot of people that walk into the gym and say, oh, like, what's your background or what's Ben's background? And I say CrossFit, there are still people that would say to me, what is CrossFit?
Yeah, that's true, but that's because we have tried to take the best parts of that and bring it to a more, mainstream audience. Like, I think CrossFit sort of went all the way in and now is purely marketed at hardcores a little bit.
Yeah.
Just because of the messaging that they put out. I mean, this is probably a podcast in and of itself, but they by making it a sport rather than just a general program for everyone, they sort of pigeonholed themselves into if you're not an athlete or if you don't have any interest in competing, then it's not for you.
Go hard or go home.
Yeah, that's right. But at least initially, it was a way of just you can train really hard for 20 minutes and that's all you need.
Yeah.
And it was revolutionary in that aspect.
Yeah.
So, predictions for when we finally come out of this mess. Where do you think the fitness industry will be, and what do you think will happen in the short-term future, I guess, with coaching, with coaches and how coaching will be delivered, as well as the market and what people will perceive as valuable?
I think a lot of people will stay online.
Coaches?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people won't go back into a space.
Yeah, you might be right.
I think, for us personally, it's been a great learning curve for us as coaches. Like, we're just training in a completely different way, coaching in a completely different way.
I think it depends on their clients. Like, I think if you train some more, like if you were a one-on-one trainer and you train some more like advanced clients, then I think you'd probably stay online because you can, deliver their program and trust that they know how to do it perfectly.
Yep.
And they'll be able to carry out the program anywhere. But I think it depends on your market. Like, we train a lot of newbies to strength training, so we will always be...
They're looking for that interaction.
They want that coaching.
Yep.
They want that in-person experience. So that'll definitely be our go. But without question, the online training market will be huge because a lot of people... I think
it's going to be strong, for a long time.
For a long time.
Because I think a lot of people will be scared as well, like coming out of this.
Taking out a lease and all these overheads.
Well, not from a business perspective. I'm talking about from a client's perspective.
As training in a closed space.
Yeah, is the gym clean? Like, I think hygiene is going to scare a lot of people for a long time.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think because my natural sort of feelings towards it are pretty relaxed, so yeah, that wouldn't be what my thoughts are, but I can imagine. I mean, I know some of our clients who were concerned about it before we got closed, so yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. There is going to be a very big shift, and it's going to be very interesting how it does come back in, like if it's in stages as well.
Yeah,
so,
100% it will be.
We'll be able to train people one-on-one for a certain period of time. And
yeah, I don't think even they know yet. But hopefully, I mean, I was saying to you the other day, I think it's a bit unlucky and gives you a bit of an idea of how the government view gyms, is that we were lumped in with like restaurants and cafes like straight away as some of the first things to have to close, even though we're in a big space in small groups. But having someone all over your head, getting a haircut makes it okay. So if getting a haircut's more valuable to the government than exercising in a gym, then it might be a while before we have to open.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
However, it would be very hard for everyone to plead their case, I guess, because like if you look at the gyms around us, there's not many that are sitting at our numbers. Like majority are large classes.
Yeah, they're
Like,
crammed into
yeah.
a smaller space. Yeah, so I guess we're lucky that we're more of a personal training studio than a chain gym with large classes for sure. But who knows? Maybe they're working on ways, like maybe there's going to be a little bit more of a plan in regards to the opening compared to the closing.
Yeah.
Like, they have time now to maybe create some more guidelines on what's acceptable and what's not, and maybe just educate a few people about what's going to be okay and take out a lot of the guesswork and a lot of the grey area.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, obviously it's a pretty hard job, but it was probably a little bit too black and white when there probably is a bit more grey in industries like ours. But, it's, I guess we're all just going to have to wait and see, and hopefully we only ever have to do this stuff once.
Yeah. Well, if we can take away the positive of feeling good rather than looking good when we can trade like we usually would trade, like I think that would be just the biggest yay for our industry.
Yeah, and it's only taken a pandemic to sort of shift the views of the market.
Yeah.
But I guess in the long run it'll be a positive.
Yeah, definitely.
It's from years to come, if what people take out of this is that, health is something that can be taken away from you pretty quickly, that it's important to prioritize it efficiently as much as you can, and just have it on in the back burner in your normal lifestyle. Like, it really doesn't take that much to make a difference. And that's probably an episode that we could possibly do later on the road of, I guess, how much do you actually need to train, how much do you actually need to change the way you eat to see results. But it really isn't that much.
Yeah, I think as well it's helped a lot of people with their confidence.
Oh, massively.
Like, they've had to go out there and do it themselves.
Yeah, for sure.
So that is one step in the right direction, and that's something we hear a lot, is why people come to us initially.
Is they don't feel
comfortable to do anything.
Yep.
So they do nothing instead.
Yep.
That comes back to our last episode of self-sabotage. Like,
yeah.
Everyone can go out for a walk, yet people don't.
Yep.
They feel lost. And that's why, they come to us in the first place. Whereas, now people are being told, exercise is essential, get out there. And people are doing something, and something is better than nothing.
Oh, absolutely. And once you're doing something, it's easier to make something then become, a little bit more optimal than just nothing, because nothing helps no one.
Yeah, that first step's always the hardest.
Yep. Yeah. I think my prediction long term for the fitness industry, I guess, is going to be a lot more holistic marketing rather than just that aesthetic, transform the way you feel, rock hard abs, blah blah blah. It'll be a lot more, remember when this happened.
Yeah, stay fit,
yeah,
stay well.
Yeah, and this was taken away, and exercise became so important mentally to help people get through a tough time. Like, it's important that you continue that. So yeah, I really hope that in the years to come, us being fitness professionals, we can look at this and say, yeah, that was when the market's view towards
defining
fitness
time
changed. Yeah, massively. All right, thank you very much for listening in on our little chat on the fitness industry. We hope you're enjoying the podcast as much as we're enjoying recording them. Looking forward to bringing many more through.
Yeah, we didn't even fight today.
Nah, that's because we'll Yeah.
Sorry, guys. This one probably wasn't that interesting.
No bickering. I guess it's probably because we agreed.
That's true.
We'll bring up a controversial topic next time. We'll talk about calories or something like that.
Yeah. As always, guys, just let us know if you want us to talk about anything.
In particular. All right. Have a good week.
Bye, guys.